we've been talking about this leadership and encouraging folks. And I had a situation recently where I ran into somebody, and as I was talking to them, and I'm sure this has happened to you before, I was with somebody and they felt like they were stuck. Not stuck in today, not stuck with a problem, but stuck with something in the past. And they couldn't get out of the past to move into their future. And I wanted to just shake them and say, you know what? God's got a great future for you. He's got this amazing life for you. But they seem to keep going back and getting stuck. How would you encourage somebody who's, I don't know, living in the past?
Yeah.
To,
It's a great question, and this is where many people get stuck because they live in the past, they look in the past, and they remain in the past. And I think, as we look into this, passage as a story, this is a great story from the Bible. Here is a woman whose life is completely messed up, and the Lord knows her life is messed up. But here's a story that reminds us how Jesus intentionally, disciple makers, the pastors, the leaders, do you intentionally go to places to help people? That's the key picture. We normally would go to places, hi-fi and big names, and people love to get connected to those kinds of people. But who's going to get connected to the people that really smell bad, people that are looked down upon? Who would go there? But Jesus pauses in his journey, and you and I know he goes through Samaria for this purpose, to help someone's past and to say, past doesn't matter when you come to me. And you have a whole new destiny for you. That's the passage. And I'll read this for you so that we can connect it, right? And I also think that every person has a past. Every one of us would have a past. Moses had a past. I mean, he had a terrible past.
right.
But yet the Lord kind of pauses on Moses' journey. He says, hey, there is a great destiny for you. And, Moses, perhaps he was a little shaky in his journey, his age and his life, and who wants to do this? But he takes a new turn. And I think the Lord gives all of us a moment to pause and to think. If all we can do is pause and think what the Lord is saying. So I'll read these few verses just to kind of give a picture of this story. This is a long passage, and I'm not going to read all this. It's a big passage, but 4 to 26 would be a good one. Chapter 4, John, and verses 4 to 26. It's a whole story. It's a beautiful story. And the scripture says, he had to go through Samaria on the way. In other words, in other versions, it says, I must go through Samaria, because the Jews don't cross through Samaria. And the disciples were trying to take him to another way because they know that's not the way to go to Samaria. You and I know the story so well. But sometimes we forget the Lord wants to go to places others wouldn't go. And I think the disciple makers, the leaders, the pastors, it's an intentional thing for you to say that, I want to help somebody. And I think our ministries are called, people have past, they live in the past, and they look at the past, and they're stuck in the past. And our hope is, this story reminds us, is that eventually he came to Samaritan village of Sychar, near the field that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus tried from a long walk. He was just tired from the long walk, sat wearily beside the well about noontime. What a picture. Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus begins a conversation. But I think people that are stuck in the past, if they can only have a conversation with the Lord, not with human beings. God will use human beings, yeah. But the idea is, when people start talking, they can understand that they can overcome their past. We all have a past. Everybody has a past. And now we think we have come to a place that we kind of look down on the people with the past. When I went to some ministry overseas, I was trying to reach to a class of people that were outcast, downcast, low caste, whatever you want to call them. And I remember one of my family members who ran up to me and said, "Why are you going there? Those are not the people you should be going. You have education, you have this and that." I said, "That's a soul, that's a life."
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I think the challenge for us is to say, how do we pick up people that have a past, we know that, and they're hesitant to come? How do we do that? That's the scene that we're trying to look at the story. And we want to encourage everyone that has a past, don't let the past define your future.
Right.
And you work, and you still work with all this kind of a baggage, people that have baggages in life.
It's amazing, isn't it, how many people have defined their whole life by something in the past.
Yeah.
Like they are stuck there,
Yeah.
and they say they believe,
Yeah.
but yet they're really with both feet behind them,
Yes.
and they keep looking back. You know,
Yeah.
I think of that one quote where you know, don't look back to the past. Or when Lot's leaving town and his wife
Yes.
looks back and she turns to salt, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't look back. You gotta be moving forward with the Lord. Because if we look back, we get stuck. Right?
Yeah.
There's that image of this woman sitting at the well. You know, here she is,
Yeah.
and she's carrying some baggage.
Oh my goodness, she's carrying a big baggage. That's the reason the Bible emphasizes that she comes in the noontime, because people don't take water during the noontime. You know, it's early hours, they do take the water. But in the noontime she comes where nobody's around that water. So she's living a very lonely life. And I want to just remind you, if you're living a lonely life because something happened in your past, and I know quite a few people that, you know, go back to the past, they think on the past, and they think that nothing can be done. I want to assure you, this story reminds us, I don't care how bad your past has been, you got a great future ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
You got a great future ahead of you. Not because you're listening or not because you go to a church, but because you're walking with the Lord. And that's the scene that we see in this story. This woman is such a character that she's surprised when the Lord spells her life before her.
Oh, yeah.
She's amazed.
Right.
She calls him, "You must be a prophet." And then she has a conversation. Here's a story I want to tell you, that this picture reminds us the Lord has patience with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking as I was reading this story. He must have a lot of patience because he sits and he waits for the person to come. And I hope and pray that you need to walk. You need to come to wipe away your past. And I think this is a picture for us that no matter what kind of a baggage you have, no matter what kind of a past you have, the Lord is waiting to wipe away that past.
What a wonderful sense of encouragement, right? That the Lord waits for us. Like he knew everything that was going on. He knew that the boys were off looking for things. He goes to where the people are broken. He knew that, well, this woman would show up. He sits at the well and just waits. Like you and I, if we were hot, we'd be like looking for the well. Where's the cup? We want a cup. We want water now. And he's just sitting there waiting, and he's waiting for her. Because he knows the shame and guilt that she carries, and he's waiting to meet her in that place. What a wonderful reminder that we can find God and His saving grace and His Word, right, in those places that are dark, where we've been stuck for a long time. I love that. That's a great message for today, and I look forward to hearing a little bit more about that story in our next podcast. All right?
Always great stories, great encouragement from